Hey, what's up to all our sidekicks and henchmen out there in the Geek Nation? You're currently tuning into the Cultpop podcast live stream, aka spoiler alert, episode 760, wherein we will review the past week's comics as well as talk about some other crap. I'm your host, Johnny Destructo of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street in Philadelphia, PA. A super rad shop which caters to nerdy and nerd-adjacent individuals of all shapes and sizes, except jerks. No jerks allowed. Joining me tonight is Brian.
Hey. Oh, hey. It's me. I was the Brian. That's cool.
Yeah. Finally, it's finally your time to shine. Go ahead.
Oh, here I am. That was me shining. Hey, it wasn't that shiny.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my time to shine will come during the course of the show.
Okay.
And maybe afterwards in my personal life. We'll see what happens.
The joy of doing this live is all of you hanging out in the chat. So pipe up if you feel inclined. We'll comment. We'll have a chat. We'll discuss whatever it is.
Yeah. We got some pipers piping already. Dan H says, Hi, everyone. Hello, Dan H, as does Mars Comics. He calls each of us out by name.
Oh, shit.
And then adds the everyone. Hello, Mars Comics. And Christopher St. Saucy Goodnight says, I forgot to send an email because I didn't think would do an ep today since he just had surgery. JD.
Oh.
That's what he means.
He did not think JD would do an episode today because he just had surgery.
That's right. Yeah.
Let's see if we can show the people at home.
JD just had LASIK surgery, and here is the evidence of it before you. Look at him seeing things.
Can you see the...
You can see it more on the other one. There it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had LASIK surgery, and I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah. And you are seeing not as well as you'd hoped, right, JD?
Yeah.
That's my understanding. Yeah.
Why can't I want to put both of us?
I don't know. Hey, there we are.
Okay. So yeah, I had LASIK surgery a couple of days ago, and by all accounts, by every single account that has been accounted to me that I took account of, they told me that they could see perfectly the next day. Yeah. And I had the surgery, and I went home, and they were like, "Oh, you may experience some discomfort. It may feel like you're chopping onions." What they meant to say was, because what it was it felt like onions were chopping me in the eyeballs. Yeah. It was awful. And also, just a little bit of a side note.
Yeah.
My friend gave me an edible.
Oh.
And they said, only eat half of this edible cookie.
And did you pay attention to that recommendation?
I did. I did pay attention. And I ate half of that edible cookie.
Yeah.
Turns out I should have eaten half of a half of a half.
1/8.
Because holy cats, I was in hell. I was beyond high.
Yeah.
And I was in excruciating pain. And I believe the highness amplified my eye pain.
Yeah. His Majesty.
The
highness.
Yeah. So it was just awful. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to wake up tomorrow and everything's going to be crystal clear. It'll all be worth it. Mm-hmm. And now it is not that. Mm-hmm. It's almost as if I just took off my glasses and have had no surgery.
Yeah.
Everything
Except now you can't put the glasses back on because they're no longer for your eyes.
That's right.
As you have them now.
They're for British eyes only.
Not the best arc in Arrested Development, but still part of the good years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mars Comics, I had surgery. Good evening, says Hal. Good evening, guys on the way to work. What are y'all thoughts on Disney Plus Day? Hal, tell me more about Disney Plus Day so that I might tell you my thoughts on it, because I have no idea.
Well, the X-Men animated series 97 was part of Disney Plus Day. I know that question was addressed to Hal, but I answered it
hopefully the animation will be better than the original animation.
One would think. One would think they'll make use of the advances of the last 20 plus years. Although many of the original voice actors are returning, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Nice. There were a number of things that we've probably already heard about before, like Agatha, House of Harkness, We didn't know the title, but I'm
yeah.
down. I mean, I'm down for like anything that Catherine Hahn does.
Yeah, she's great.
I just
What
saw
was that?
He's in a new thing with Paul
Agatha
Rudd and Will
Harkness.
Ferrell. Oh yeah, and the thing I just mentioned.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like the therapist next door or something on Apple.
Oh, is she in that?
She is in that. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It looks
Nice.
great. And Mrs. Fletcher, I think, is the thing that you were. I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
she
I
was
was so
great in
bummed
Mrs.
that I was
Fletcher.
like, oh, there's no second season. It's
Yeah.
only following the events of this book, and that's it.
She was awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad to see her getting her due because she was on a show with Hank Azaria and Anthony Head like years ago. I think Natasha Leggero was in it. It was an American version of a British show about an ad agency, and it was great. I mean, all those people are great, and it lasted like 4 or 5 episodes. And I think that was my first real exposure to her, and I was hooked. You know, Jen Barkley on Parks and Rec, and yeah.
Oh, for me, it was when she was in Step Brothers.
Oh, you know, I've never seen that film.
She steals that movie, dude.
Really?
She's only in like 2 or 3 scenes.
Yeah.
But I walked away from that movie remembering, I'm like, I don't know who that is, but she is funny.
She is great. Oh, she's so funny. And with Mrs. Fletcher, also good at the drama stuff. And we've got
I'm sorry, Mars is commenting. Okay, I'm back. And presumably they had left for a minute. And she says, the husband is home. I had to go say hello to him. So in my head, she's watching the show. And then, shit, my husband's home. Let me go. Pff. And she like went to say like, here, have a kiss, hi. And then like ran back to the screen to be with us.
I should hope so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why the husband isn't watching the show too. But
right?
It's fine. I guess it's fine.
We're poly up in this piece. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, the more the merrier, we always say.
Hal2814 says, yes, X-Men 97 will look sweet. Continues the story with new animation, Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, and She-Hulk. Okay, so I didn't realize that was part of whatever this umbrella thing is called.
And they just announced
Disney Plus Day?
They just announced them all on that Disney Plus Day.
I didn't know there was a Disney Plus Day.
Oh, there was a day.
But I did know that these announcements were dropped. I saw the trailer for She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's very skinny for a She-Hulk. The rest of it looks great.
Yeah.
I like how they even changed. If you notice, they changed the logo, the She-Hulk logo, to be more like a la Law and Order typography.
I did not notice that.
I don't know
what that looks like.
Was there a trailer for Ms. Marvel?
I haven't seen one. If there was,
because all I saw was a couple of stills of like her and some kid hanging out on the roof.
I heard the costume is like comics accurate. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not known for screwing with their looks or anything.
But then I hear they're messing with her powers. Like she's not going to embiggen.
Oh. You know what? I'll be honest with you, if I may. As I always have been in the past.
Finally! I'm tired of the lies.
Yes. Out of this den of iniquity and lies comes the truth at last. I have never felt like her power set was one that she should be calling herself Ms. Marvel. You know?
You're right. Yeah.
Like, either the grandiosity of the name Ms. Marvel or fitting into the other blank Marvel characters. You know, Captain or the other Ms. Marvel. So just those two, really. But, you know, she just like kind of stretches and grows and whatever. And I feel like somebody that's called Ms. Marvel should have some energy-based powers, should be flying around, super strong or invulnerable, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's my deal with that. Now, the She-Hulk thing, you and I had discussed, and I just kind of wonder, the Hulk is shown with both arms in their pre-snap order, right? Like they're okay. And I have never felt like the Hulk should be permanently affected by the snap. You know, he's the Hulk. Come on. And I wonder if some of that is in flashback, it's during the blip, or if he is in fact now, you know, healed up.
Okay. So I've given it a little bit more thought.
Excellent.
And the Hulk, in my head, and I don't know why this happens, in my head, if the Hulk had a busted ass arm from the gauntlet, it would go away if Hulk eventually turned back into Bruce and then back into the Hulk. But because he's Professor Hulk now, he has never
Oh.
changed
Okay.
anything. He's
That makes
still,
sense.
from what I understand, unless it's entirely possible that the She-Hulk
hmm
takes place after he changed back to Bruce for some reason and went back to Smart.
Well, we do see him as both Bruce and
That's right.
the Professor Hulk. Now, I could also
That's right.
see, like, all right, Professor Hulk maybe has less of his Hulkness, and so cannot, you know, do his thing, Hulk-wise, as far as healing goes. But we have seen Bruce Banner again since then in his Banner form, in the post-credits sequence of a film, and he had a sling as well. Yeah.
Ah, shit! Really?
Yeah, he was
Damn it.
slinged up.
Was
I
that
know,
under
right?
Shang-Chi? After
It was in
Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi, yeah.
Which just dropped, and I watched twice today.
Yeah, and I finally got to see the see and hear the post-credit scene because the audio went out partially through the post-credit scene when I was in the trailer, and I made a bit of a stink about it, and the manager was like, "Oh, it's the very end of the movie," and I'm like, "Well, it's a post-credit scene of a Marvel movie, man. Like, this is an important thing."
It's
but I
one
got
of
some
the
free
three
passes
most
out of it.
important parts of the movie.
Exactly.
One being the movie, two being the mid-credit scene, three being the post-credit scene.
Those are the three most important parts. I don't
Three
care
most
about
important.
the credits that are after the second post-credit scene or what have you. So now we've also got Spider-Man Freshman Year is presumably an animated series about Spider-Man before we see him in what was it? Homecoming. Which I guess also unfortunately means that he will have that like sweatsuit costume that he was wearing.
I'm into that.
You're into it? Okay.
Yeah. Originally, when I first read it, I went, wait a minute, this is before he gets powers? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. They're just talking about like the goggles.
Yeah.
The goggle sweatsuit. Yeah.
I thought the same exact thing when I first heard about the TV show Smallville. For some reason, the first thing I heard about it was like Clark Kent before he has powers. And I was like, who cares? It's like a teen high school drama. And one day he becomes Superman.
Yeah.
Right. But he did have powers throughout the show. So that was good. Yeah. I guess he just didn't have all of his powers for the beginning of it, at least. And more for the whole thing.
I'm excited for all of these things.
Yeah. Moon Knight.
I'm excited.
I'm real excited for Moon Knight. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was worried that what we need more is Batman. We need more Batman. So I'm glad we have another Batman to watch.
I mean, he's got his own deal though. He's got dissociative identity disorder, or is it even a disorder with him? Like sometimes those are actual other people, right? You know what I mean? Like actual other personalities. Well, I don't know the ins and outs of DID, but I mean, in the context of comics, I'm not sure if those are like other fully formed humans that became like merged into a single person. I don't know. But I like him. Yeah. And Echo is also coming out.
Oh, that's right. Echo. Yeah.
I guess I'm down with that.
Echo.
And then a Marvel Zombies animated series, which I'll watch it. I don't care too much, but whatever.
We already got that from What If. I've had my fill.
That was it? That's all you needed?
Yeah.
All right. They'll probably just re-show that episode of What If every week.
Every time. Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to watch it. And they also talked about like Secret Invasion, What If Season 2.
Which is a show, right?
Which is a show. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm into that. I'm totally into the whole like blurring of the lines between the prestige of movies and shows, which I mean it's been happening way before the MCU, but I like it. All of the coolest stuff is on TV, or I should say 90% of the coolest stuff is on TV. Outside of Marvel movies or the occasional thing like Dune or whatever, everything I'm excited about is on TV.
Which, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, here at the shop, Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, every Tuesday night we have either movie club or book club, graphic novel club, and so we tomorrow night are doing Dune, 2021's Dune.
I love it.
I have to watch it. I've watched 20 minutes of it after my surgery. It was last night. And doesn't matter where I sit in the apartment, I can't see the television. It's not good.
What if you sat 15 feet or 15 inches in front of the television?
Then my wife would be upset.
Probably. It would kind of be like you were in the movie theater, though, right? Like it would be filling your entire field of vision. Well, maybe you could just describe it to her as you were watching it.
My plan is to, when we're in bed tonight and the baby, because his baby sleeps in the bed with us now, I'm just going to put the iPad in my headphones and just watch it.
All right. It's a long movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to watch it for tomorrow night. But I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Hey, Brian.
Hey, what is it?
You want to talk about some comics?
I actually, if we could talk about one thing real quick, something I've been meaning to ask for a couple of weeks. Hal 2814, how do you pronounce your screen name here? I always, when I'm talking about the Green Lantern Corps, I say like 2814. Yeah. Some people say 2814, and I'm just curious. I don't know what's with those people, and I'm not sure that I want to know. But
obviously, they have very limited Corps experience.
Exactly. These are not Green Lantern Corps recruits. We can be sure of that.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, how do you say it in your head or when you're saying your screen name to other people?
I have a question for you. While Hal 2814 is answering that question, I'm going to type something up on the screen here, and I want to know how you pronounce this name.
Probably Zerbegerts. Just I'm guessing. Oh, Gnort.
Gnort!
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I say Gnort too. Yeah.
What else could you say? Like G-Nort?
You could say Nort. Maybe I think some people think that the G is silent or that the N is silent and it's Gort.
Gord.
But I go Gnort.
Gord, I think, is the robot from The Day the Earth Stood Still, right? Is that? No, I don't think it is. But if there was no apostrophe, maybe I could get into saying Nort, but I don't know. With the apostrophe there for sure. Gnort, definitely.
Gnort. All right, cool.
Yeah. It seems to fit the character so well.
All right. Well, let's move on while we're waiting for Hal.
Let's do it.
Let's see. I'm gonna bring up my notes. Not written by Noel this time. I had to do it myself. Ugh.
I mean, technically, they were written by the shipping companies of the comics that we are going to talk about.
The first book we're going to discuss is from Boom Studios. It is called Regarding the Matter of Oswald's Body. It's number 1 of a 5-issue miniseries written by Christopher Cantwell of *Halt and Catch Fire*, one of my favorite 3 seasons of TV. Very, very good.
That show?
He did. He was the creator of that show.
Is that right? I did not know that.
Yeah. And he's also currently writing the ongoing Iron Man series for Marvel right now. Oh. And the art of this book is by Luca Casalanguida. The description is thusly. Where is Lee Harvey Oswald's body? The Kennedy assassination is a rat's nest of conspiracy theories, mafia involvement, the second gunman, government cover-up. But the most important chapter of this sort of tale may just be the theory that the body buried at Oswald's Rose Hill gravesite is not actually Lee Harvey himself. What? Meet the ragtag group of useful idiots who are unwittingly brought together to clean up the crime of the century. A wannabe cowboy from Wisconsin, a Buddy Holly idolizing former car thief, a world-weary civil rights activist ready for revolution, and a failed G-man who still acts the part, and specifically regarding the matter of Oswald's body. For fans of Department of Truth and Time Before Time comes an off-kilter crime thriller set in the shadows of history's greatest conspiracy by Eisner Award-nominated writer, producer, and director Christopher Cantwell. Oh, he's also doing United States of Captain America. And artist Luca Casalanguida, Lost Soldiers and Scouts Honor. So, first of all, great name. As soon as I saw the name, I was like, oh, I want this. I like the name of this. I'm interested. What did you think of this first issue, Brian?
I'll tell you, regarding the name, I love it when titles are like sentences, I find that to be cool, just like this.
I'm amazed that you didn't go, regarding the name, regarding the matter of Oswald's body.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't realize that I was making that parallel until I was already a few words deep. So, yeah. I thought that it was cool. It was good. It was, the beginnings of some kind of, it's not a heist, but like the beginnings of a caper where the guy goes around and gathers all of the people that you mentioned in the solicit.
Great word, by the way. I love a good caper. I love capers.
Yeah, I like a caper as well. I like participating in them.
Yeah.
I like to caper about, in a slightly different meaning. And I love to read about them. I thought, so it opens up with like a block of text on this page about Mr. H and Mr. C and all of them. And whenever you open up one of those in a comic, it's like, here we go. I
literally listen. So Brian, for the past couple of months has been working in my shop on Mondays to help me out. And so I went behind. I've got a studio here where I print T-shirts, and I went behind the curtain there just so I could open up and start reading because I knew I had to get these books read for tonight. And I believe the first thing I opened was this book regarding the matter of Oswald's body, and immediately I opened to the first page and I went, "Oh, it's a block of text."
Right. I got to get through this.
You could hear me over the thing, and you were like, "Here's what it is."
Yeah.
You just told me in 3 sentences what it was.
Yeah.
But you omitted some important information.
Well, I did, which it was to say that one of them also dies. And it doesn't come up again in the story, but I imagine it will at some point. And it's, especially for reading for the show, and you're like, I got to get this done, before the show starts. Now, that being said, I'm glad that they had this in there because it is a very, if not supernatural, like definitely something out of the ordinary, most likely supernatural thing where it's about doppelgangers and doubles that this one guy sees this other guy walking around, and it's later revealed to him that this guy is sick and he dies. And so it talks about how the doppelganger was like kind of released into the world because he was in extreme physical distress or something like that. And it is the only hint of anything like that in this story. So there is, it's regarding the matter of Oswald's body. They've got to find a guy who looks at least kind of like Lee Harvey Oswald. And that's what this whole caper begins as. But without that beginning stuff, you wouldn't know that there might be something extraordinary happening. So I was glad that they put that in there. All of the people are capably introduced. They're fleshed out pretty well. The guy who's like a bank robber and only makes out with about $80 from his bank.
I like that guy.
Yeah, he was fun. And, they all have, in just a couple of pages, the writer fleshes them out quickly enough. And I thought as this one guy like gathers them all together. So it's hard to say really where the story is going or if it will be a good story, but it's also a good start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, I absolutely agree. The art is very nice too. I really like this sort of sketchy, loose. It feels like Paul Aceceda a little bit. It definitely has an indie comics vibe.
It also fits the time period well, I think. Like, so this takes place in the 60s and the 80s, and it works. It makes you feel like it's in the past, the art does.
Yes.
Yeah. Hal 2814 says, I say 2814, and then realizing his error of confusion says 2, 8, 1, 4.
There we
go. Excellent.
Dan H says this sounds terrible.
All right.
Dan H, why does it sound terrible? Do you not like a caper? Do you hate capers?
Yeah. Have you been the victim of a caper?
Oh, maybe that's
it.
I would hate capers too if caper came down on me.
Yeah.
I think the storytelling is interesting. Everything is done well, right? Mm-hmm. The only thing I have a problem with is like, you got to go find a guy who looks like Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah. Probably
not
not
the
that
most
hard.
interesting.
I mean, they also even make it like he makes it clear he doesn't have to look that much like Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why they put the stuff in the beginning. Well, because also this woman that you're at now is an expert at forging documents. So, I think there's more to it than just finding him and putting him in this grave. They have to, in some way, make him assume the place of Lee Harvey Oswald. But yeah, without the hint that there might be something unusual going on, I would be much less forgiving of this as a first part, Yeah.
Yeah. It's the prologue and the epilogue for this issue that sort of not grounded it, obviously, but brought it home for you.
Yeah, I would say so. To the extent that it did, I all this being said, I'm not like itching to get the next issue or anything. Right. But there's nowhere to fit into this story, or there's nowhere that it was fit in, that it's anything more than just some kind of like government cover-up operation. Right. And that is a whole different story than if there's actual duplicates of people around,
And I'll be honest,
okay.
finally, again, for once, I am curious just because I like Christopher Cantwell. Christopher Cantwell, like, if another name was attached to this, I might have read it and been like, oh, it's a good-looking book. It was interesting enough, but I don't really care. The thing that will make me buy number 2 is the fact that Christopher Cantwell is behind it. Okay. He's a name that I associate with things I enjoy at this point. So it's definitely worth a shot for me.
Now, I'll tell you one thing about it that it just left me not cold, just uncaring. There is this like kind of tree diagram in the beginning and then again at the end. And I'm like, why is that there? Like, I
think we're going to find out every issue. I think one of those names is going to be
I think I wouldn't remember from issue to issue what had and had not been revealed yet. But yeah, probably. Hopefully they'll do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Robert Monroe Jr. says, how's the artwork? Sometimes people don't do sufficient research about clothes, cars, window displays, logo, lettering, etc., and that takes me out of the story. I'll tell you, Robert Monroe Jr., I haven't done sufficient research about those things in this time period, so I couldn't tell you. It seems as though they're appropriate to the period, but I wouldn't stake my reputation on
it. Having been born in 1978, all of this looks very authentic to me.
Sure. Yeah. From what I have seen of other fictional things, and things that were old when I was young, should be.
Given my experience of going into a diner and seeing an old photograph of when that diner first came into existence, it looks exactly like it. Looks perfect. It looks good.
It's just like that diner you saw. This is kind of cool too. Chapter 1, October 55th. That's a cool hook. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why do they call it that? What's the deal with that? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out.
Well, maybe. But no, Robert Monroe Jr., it may seem like we are being silly, but
I was.
That's true. Although it has to be really egregious for me to notice it or pull me out of a story.
Yeah, nobody's got any iPhones.
Not exactly. Yeah. Right. So yeah. All right. Let's see. What's the next book?
What is it?
I'll tell you.
Thank you.
It's Robin and Batman #1.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, from DC Comics, written by Jeff Lemire with artwork by Dustin Nguyen, who you might remember from Lil Gotham. He's done some children's books called Lil Gotham. He also did Sender and Descender, etc. And of course, Jeff Lemire, everyone knows that name. He does a bunch of Black Hammer stuff right now.
He's great. I generally like Jeff Lemire's work.
Ditto. Yeah. The legendary story of Batman and Robin has reached nearly mythic proportions. The crime-fighting dynamic duo, always one step ahead of the criminals they pursue and never meeting a case too big.
How are you one step ahead of a criminal you're pursuing? How does that work?
Shit. Oh. You fucked up. You fucked up, DC, with this. You ruined it. Anyway, this isn't that story, says the description.
No, it's not. They don't have to worry about it.
This isn't the story. I'm sorry. This is the story of a young Dick Grayson, newly orphaned, struggling to find his way in a strange, difficult, dark new world. This is the story of Robin and Batman. The best-selling creative team behind the Eisner Award-winning Descender, Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen, reunite in Gotham City to tell a story of a remarkable young man learning to navigate an incredible new world. The first thing that threw me off was that it's called Robin and Batman.
Oh,
I can't believe I've never seen a book called Robin and Batman before.
I know, right?
And
I didn't even realize it. I just referred to it earlier as Batman and Robin, and you were like, "No, it's Robin and Batman."
Yeah,
and yeah. It's a cool twist though for what this story is. You know, I mean, it's like you said, I've never seen that before, and it's high time that we did.
First thing I noticed was, and I'm sorry about this, the artwork is way too loose. At first I was like, oh man, Jeff Lemire is going to be drawing Batman and Robin. I don't know. I don't like Jeff Lemire's art very much, and I don't think I'm going to enjoy his take on Batman and Robin, or Robin and Batman for that matter. And then I opened up the book, and I was like, oh, this is Dustin Nguyen. But the Dustin Nguyen is very Jeff Lemire in this. Very, very loose. And I like things a little tighter. This is not artwork that I find especially compelling or interesting to look at. That was the very first thing that I noticed, and it stuck with me the entire book. I just don't like the art. But I do remember liking Dustin Nguyen way back in the day. Like when he first started, I really liked his work. But whatever this watercolor, this very impressionistic watercolor work doesn't speak to me. Good.
JD, Dan H has succeeded where we failed. He said, "Put your eye drops in."
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent.
That being said,
yeah,
I got to put these are what do I call them? They're
eye drops.
Steroidal eye drops. I got to put them in so that my eyes heal, because I had the flaps of my eyes seared open. Like, which I could smell, by the way. I could smell my burning eye meat. I really liked the story. I was able to get past the artwork. I liked the story well enough. I thought it was very cute. I always like a good Robin story. I enjoy Robin stories more than I enjoy Batman stories. They're just a little bit more interesting to me. So what did you think? I'm going to put these eye drops in. You tell the people.
Sure. I liked it. I didn't have an issue with the art. I kind of liked this watercolory art for this story. And I thought it was very cool. There's a nuance that I've never seen from Robin before, where he's not yet Robin. He's going out training, and Batman is like kind of there in the shadows, as he often is, and letting Robin do his thing, but he'll be there to step in if it goes wrong. And Robin has like kind of a very Bat influenced sort of training costume. You know, it's blue and black or gray and that kind of stuff. Which I thought was kind of cool. We also get a cool scene. So, as surprises nobody, Batman is displeased with how Robin does his thing on this night out, and Robin is overconfident. And then so we get them driving.
This is a scene that we have seen so many times, and it's never a surprise. It's always like, don't go out. You're not going out tonight. I'm the Batman. I say what goes. You're grounded. You're not going anywhere. And he's always like, all right, bye. I'm going to go be Robin.
Yeah.
What did I tell you? Yeah. You went against what I said. I guess you'll be Robin. This is like happens every time.
Yeah. It's their dynamic.
Yeah, it's their dynamic. Yeah. It's of that particular duo. Yes.
It's this duo of which we speak.
Yeah.
But on the car ride home, I thought it was pretty cool that it looks like Batman and the car on this page on the left, Batman and the car are the same art exactly, and Dick Grayson's kind of making different faces, but the red coloring changes from one panel to the next. And I just thought it was a very cool effect. To them moving by other things or whatever. So yeah, I thought that was cool.
You know what you don't know is
Mhm.
is that is blood smearing across the windows from Batman just plowing through Gothamites.
I'm sure they did something.
Yeah. Nobody's innocent. You think you're innocent? Swear to me!
And they can't even hear him because he's in the car.
I'm blood now. I don't have a mouth. I'm just blood.
Yes, they think as their consciousness ebbs away. So they
I have no mouth yet. I must scream.
Oh, that's a good speaking of titles of things that are sentences. Classic Harlan Ellison Star Trek episode.
I am blood, but I must scream.
It's a pretty good update.
Thanks. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He's so he's not allowed to be. He's like, I was gonna let you go out, but now you can't. And then so Dick Grayson is doodling away in his notebook, and he's like, you know what, the whole like black and gray and blue thing isn't working for me. So and Batman destroyed the suit, so I'm gonna just go out. I'm gonna make my own suit, and and why shouldn't? And so he does, and it's a pretty cool looking suit. It's like the classic Robin suit. Yeah, it's got the gray utility belt, which is a cool addition, and black pants, and I guess he always had green gloves, but and I think it's just an R instead of an R in a circle, but. Really excellent update to the classic Robin.
Love it.
Costume.
Love it. That's all I want. That is all I ever need in a Robin costume.
Mm-hmm.
Just that. I love that classic Robin.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Especially for Dick Grayson's, like when they flash back. I get why you don't want to put him in the Speedos, now when we flash back. But what else looks right for Dick Grayson? Right. And this does it. Like, this nails it. And so then it turns out that, Batman also realized that the previous look wasn't going to work for him. And so he made him a Robin costume as well, which is probably way better armored, but doesn't look as cool as Dick Grayson's one. Unfortunately, it looks exactly like the Flying Grayson's costume that he famously wore with his parents when they were the Flying Graysons. So, the twist at the end is that Killer Croc was also in that circus and recognizes him, which is a very cool idea to have Killer Croc have been in there. And I bet he was horribly mistreated while they were the belles of the balls. And so I would imagine that Waylon Jones has an axe to grind against him. And, I'll tell you, on the next page there, JD, speaking of the art, the trapeze is just in like line work against this background. I think it looks pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. What'd you think about it?
I love the tie-in. I the fact that they tied in Waylon to the Grayson Circus or the Haley Circus, man. What a great idea. Of course. Yeah. Of course they've got like an alligator man. That's kind of dope.
Nice remembering the name of that circus too. That was classic comic trivia.
But it's almost as if we talk about it all the time.
Yes.
But yeah, isn't that funny how super secret identity?
Right.
And I'm gonna make my costume look exactly like the costume that I wore when I was a famous trapeze artist in a circus with my family who all wore the same outfits. Yeah.
With printed material still in existence.
Yep.
About this. Now, Dick Grayson I can understand, but Batman also makes this costume.
Yep.
And but what are you gonna do? He's Robin. The secret identity is blown wide open. Presumably, Bruce Wayne will be found out very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the entire point of the series, I'm sure.
Sure, probably. I mean, that is how.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to look at this.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm looking at this Batman version of the suit, and I don't know if people would automatically tie those two together.
Oh, you know what?
Especially since this Robin.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Robin is not usually caught in the newspapers, right? He's not usually. You don't get pictures of Batman and Robin.
That's true. That's true. They go out of their way for that not to happen. And
only the superstitious and cowardly lot that is the criminal.
Exactly. Who they want to see. But now let's go to the picture that we see of them in the bill or whatever of the Flying Graysons on the last page. I mean, it does look pretty similar.
Yeah.
However, it is well in continuity that he based his Robin costume on the Flying Graysons outfit. But generally, it's just like kind of the color scheme.
Yeah. Now, we won't even touch on the fact that he designs for this 12-year-old boy a very bright and vibrant costume while he wears black.
I feel like we are touching on it right now.
Oh, I just touched on it.
You touched on it. Well, I mean, to be fair, the costume he designed was at first very dark, but then he's like, well, I'm sure he'll be fine.
What if I made him more visible to the shooters?
Exactly.
Yeah.
and make it harder for him to blend into the shadows using the training that I have provided.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, this was good. I enjoyed this.
And he also mentions his Nightwing alias.
Yes.
When he's like, oh, maybe I should be called Nighthawk or Nightwing or something.
Yep.
Which is a little bit of I always thought it was cool that he gets that. I liked how they tied that into Superman's Kandor identity. In later years, they've said that, because Dick Grayson and Superman are friends. They're like some of the original, and Dick Grayson has known him for many years. So when he leaves, Bruce Wayne, he's like hanging out with Superman and chooses the name Nightwing based off of the secret identity that Superman has when he's in Kandor. Or actually, I think by that time it's about a Kryptonian legend or whatever. But, I
never liked that.
You didn't like that?
Nah.
I just thought it was a nice way to tie in the fact that Nightwing was already an existing DC name,
Yeah.
But I'm also
fine. There's no reason for Nightwing to have another. There's no reason for him to pull that from anything. You know what I mean? I just like that it was his thing originally, and
sure.
Didn't need,
and I'm fine with it being that. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes they go a step too far with making sure every single thing is connected to another thing that previously existed, even though we didn't know it existed, and that's just for no real purpose. I don't think it really adds anything to the mythos other than trivia.
With them, I thought it made sense because, Superman and Batman have worked together so much, and Robin was a part of that they're close already. You know what I mean? If it was like this was, I don't know, some other thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Then forget it.
If it was
like
Speedy's trying to come up with Arsenal, and he's like, hey, they had an arsenal on Krypton. I'll be called that.
That'd be weird. Yeah. Also, why was I called Speedy? I'm not the Flash's sidekick. That's stupid.
Yeah, and it's nothing to do with anything that he does. I mean, he shoots arrows quickly.
Arrows are very speedy.
Yeah, the arrows themselves are speedy, and he's probably good at firing them in rapid succession. That's about it.
I guess.
One would hope. That's the only thing that he can do.
Let's talk about The Thing.
Let's talk about him.
John Carpenter's The Thing, 1980. I don't forget what date it is, but great movie. I love that movie. The Thing from Marvel Comics, written by Walter Mosley with art by Tom Riley. The next big thing begins here. Renowned storyteller Walter Mosley brings his signature style to a sweeping saga of Yancey Street's favorite son that will range from the urban sprawl of the back alleys of Manhattan to the farthest reaches of the cosmos itself. A lonely evening and a chance encounter. Or is it?
Oh, is it?
Sends Ben Grimm embarking on a sojourn that will have him encountering and battling figures both old and new, featuring guest appearances from figures drawn from throughout the Marvel Universe, as well as precision artwork by Tom Riley. The next big thing will remind audiences why The Thing is one of the most popular and beloved characters in the history of comics. Is it beloved or beloved?
I always say beloved.
Beloved.
That's what I say.
Yeah. This was cute.
Yeah.
This was a cute Thing story. I don't care about the Fantastic Four.
No.
But I do enjoy occasionally a good Thing story. He's a very fun character for me. I love the design of him. I mistakenly thought that this was a Chris Samnee cover Very Chris Somney type art throughout. But yeah, this was really, really cute and fun. I really enjoyed it. What did you think of it?
I liked it too. I am all about the Fantastic Four. They're one of my favorite Marvel properties. And the Thing is a part of that. And so I like it when the Thing shows up.
You know who else I like when they show up?
Who's
Willie Lumpkin.
Yes, he's always
Who's Willie
fun.
Lumpkin?
Why, that is the Fantastic Four's mail carrier.
Yeah.
And as you informed me today, a one-time paramour of May Parker. otherwise known
one-time paranormal.
Yeah, probably at one time, right? There's got to be at least one story. So I love a good flashback to the Halcyon days of the kind of core comics concept. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's something when they're first starting or whatever it is. The art.
Same thing we just got with Robin.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. But in kind of a different way. I mean, that one is a flashback to like kind of an untold tale of his formation as Robin. And this one is just a, hey, here's the Thing when he's at his prime thingness. I don't know if they're just starting out, but no major changes have happened yet. You know what I mean? It's standard Fantastic Four kind of stuff, even though they're not, the rest of the FF aren't really in it. The art, I think, very well supports that. It has a flashback 60s kind of feel, almost like a Darwin Cook without actually looking like the way that he draws things, but just kind of has that vibe of a return to the mid-century modern comics. The coloring also goes along well with that. And I liked it. It was just like a cool Thing story. I mean, nothing much has been laid out yet, but you get like he and Alicia Masters are on the outs. This is a cool splash page with, the bodies of, well, a lot of people, actually, virtually everything, including, who is that, Eternity up there? One of the major Marvel cosmic entities. So, yeah. And you liked it too? Well, good. I'm so glad to receive your nod of agreement on that one.
I'm eating a Twix bar.
I see that. I see it. Now, they do make mention at one point, since you're eating a Twix bar, of there's a sculpture of Ben Grimm that Alicia Masters has made that's like the only sculpture made out of a meteorite. And I had occasion to remember that ancient Egypt had iron way before most anybody else because of a meteor. And they refer to it as like a space rock. And I think it was King Tut had a dagger made out of this iron. And it advanced their society, since they were able to make iron before we could create things that were hot enough to, smelt it or you know what? No, I'm sorry, not iron, steel, I guess, right? Or okay, it might be I'm a little fuzzy on that part, but we as a species didn't have the technology yet to create a kiln hot enough to make this itself.
Yeah.
To make this alloy, and because I don't think iron is an alloy, it's a metal itself. I guess it was probably steel or some kind of alloy created in the meteor. I don't know. Look it up yourselves. You have enough information if you're interested in it.
It started off so strong, too.
I know, right?
I really believed you, and you're like, maybe I mean chili. I don't even know.
Well, everything I said is true, including the parts where I said, hey, I'm not so certain, right? Wouldn't we rather have that than me or anyone just kind of bull straight onward? But you've got enough that you're intrigued, one hopes. I'll go find out some more yourself.
They invented pizza because it came on a meteor.
Exactly. And now you know.
Knowing is half the battle. Robert Monroe Jr. says, I picked this up yesterday because I'm a fan of Mosley, but $4.99 for a regular-sized book.
Yeah.
So, Walter Mosley, I know the name. Whomst be Walter Mosley? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I know the name too, and I couldn't tell you a thing that he's done or where I know him from.
Friggin' Google it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Walter Mosley books. This is gripping. Hey, there's that guy. He's elderly. He's 69 years old. He lives in Los Angeles. What?
Well,
tell me something else.
A review of his body of work. Oh, he wrote Devil in a Blue Dress and a bunch of other novels.
Oh, yes. Devil in a Blue Dress. I've heard of that. The Awkward Black Man. That's not what I'm calling him. That's the name of one of his novels. Trouble is What I Do. This is pretty. I mean, judging books by their covers, which I know you're supposed to, these look really cool, actually.
I mean, how else would you figure out what book you want to get next?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, don't let that be the end of your judgment, but you guys will be happy to learn that it was, in fact, iron, the metal of heaven, as they called it, that the ancient Egyptians were able to harvest from some meteors. There you go.
You are correct. Awesome.
Thank you.
Mars says, this sounds very interesting. I will definitely look it up myself. Dan says, need to brush up on your metallurgy for this one.
Well, I did.
Robert Monroe said he wrote Devil in a Blue Dress and a bunch of other novels.
Cool.
So I like this. This was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
This one of my favorite things is Silver Age comic books retold in a modern format.
Yeah.
I am a sucker for stuff like that. Batgirl Year One, Robin Year One, stuff like that, where we get to experience some of the classic heyday of these
That's it. The
characters.
heyday. Yeah.
Yes. The salad days.
The salad days.
Of these characters, but through a modern storytelling lens that speaks a little bit more to my sensibilities. You know, reading some of the classic Fantastic Four stuff is a chore for me because of the way that comics used to be written. But I do like rereading those types of stories with current writing techniques.
Yeah.
So this was right up my alley. I think it was a lot of fun. And I recommend it. Now, that being said, $4.99 price tag. How many issues is this? I mean, how many pages? I mean,
it's about 31 pages, including the cover.
Oh, so it's bigger. A regular comic book, $3.99 comic book, is usually about 22 pages, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So
depending
this is
on
a little
cover.
bit extra. This is a little bit extra.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Boop, 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 pop, pop. Next, I'll tell you. Well, I got see Noel's not here to unclick all the things so I got to take off remove the thing, and then I got to go to the banners, and I got to unclick that thing, and then I got to click that thing, and then I got to go back to I got too many tabs open, and then I got to go, hey, promo block Q Brian.
Oh, hey, JD. You know what I've been thinking about recently? It's Patreon.com. Yes, that's true. But you know what would be cool? If people could take valuable substances or representations thereof and somehow give them to you and me, but more so you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would like them too, but is there a way that they could give them for the purposes of us continuing this show?
You, if you have an overabundance of iron, you can mail that iron to us. You go to patreon.com/Johnny Destructo. You can help us out that way. Listen, I know 99% of you listening aren't going to do it, but that's fine. You can just hang out with us. You can put us on your calendar and come hang out with us Monday nights at 9:00. That's really the most important thing. Share, like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. That's the nitty gritty, right?
Yeah.
Not that we don't love all of our patrons.
We love
Thank you
them
so much.
a lot.
I was so excited. We got a new patron this month.
Is that right?
A new $5 patron.
Cool.
And then I was like, oh, look at this. And then like the next week, another patron dropped. Like, God.
But
so
at least it wasn't.
We're still even.
At least it wasn't the one who just signed up.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh,
it's like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, you can do that if you want. You don't have to. No pressure. It's fine. We'll still love you.
Whatever pressure you feel from this promo block, that's the extent of the pressure.
That's it.
Is there any kind of physical commodity that they might receive? Some sort of something you could stick to something else?
Yeah.
Anything of that nature?
So I'm in the middle of right now. Most of the majority of people who are patrons have subscribed for the $5. It's just like basically a tip jar, $5 tip jar. But if you come into my shop, you get a crisp high five. And for some reason, I put that in there as a gag, and people are choosing it.
Oh.
So I'm thinking of doing another one that's like maybe $5.25 because I want to do a sticker club wherein I draw a new sticker every month and send you a new sticker. But more than $5 seems like too much for a sticker. So I'm like $5.25, maybe $5.50, just to cover the sticker and the shipping.
Well, they're also supporting. They're not just buying a sticker from you, JD, which they can
That's
do
true.
at your
That's
shop
true.
at 4327 Main Street. But and you
They're
have
also-
a lot of different stickers.
They're
Are they
also
available
helping my
elsewhere?
recovery, helping my LASIK recovery.
Yes, help JD have the ability to see to draw more stickers.
Yeah.
And they're not just buying the sticker; they're also contributing to the show. So, $5.25, $5.50, $500,000, whatever you feel. Is
I'll take all of it.
Yeah.
So, side note, I find it very difficult not to. First of all, I got to look down. So here's the camera, right? The camera's up here.
Sure.
So I'm trying to look at the camera, but then I also want to see you because you're talking to me. But
Yeah.
then I also keep looking back at myself because I'm 30. No, I'm not. I'm 43. 43. For 30 odd years, I've worn glasses. Ever since I was 8 years old, I wore glasses. So this is the first time I'm seeing myself without glasses for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And so I keep getting distracted by myself. One woman, there was a Trump supporter way back in the beginning of the Trumpdom.
Hopefully she's come to her senses, turned it around.
And I forget what we were just talking about regular stuff. And then she got really mad at me and started insulting me. And the one insult that she threw at me that has stayed with me till now is that she said I had Down syndrome eyes.
Oh my God.
What a strange thing to tell somebody.
Yeah. And
every time I see my eyes, I'm like, what does that mean? Do I have Down syndrome eyes? What does this mean? Also, who cares if I do? It's fine.
Yeah.
But I think it.
What an
Down syndrome
unsurprising thing for somebody who supports that kind of thing to say.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'll take old. I got some old eyes. I got some.
True. I mean, I actually
That's
think
true. Thanks, Brian.
Compliment.
That's true.
Yeah.
They are old.
Yeah.
Little crow's feet in there.
Rapidly aging. No, I think that when somebody says like you have old eyes, I always took that as a compliment, right? Like,
oh, I see.
The wisdom, the age in your essence shows through your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. That's probably what she meant. She probably mistyped old. Yeah. She meant like old, wizened, experienced eyes, but she accidentally typed Down syndrome.
Well, she's made a lot of mistakes, or at least one other one. So, yeah.
Oh, you're my favorite. I love that. Wise eyes, says Dan H. He also says he's ready to level up to that sticker tier. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Down syndrome's eyes. That's what I'm saying. That's the other thing is I don't want to seem like I feel insulted by it, but I do feel perplexed. Right, I do feel perplexed because I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah. It means that she wanted to insult you, and she's
couldn't think of anything else to
be. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Mars. Mars. I see why you hang out with us and not your husband.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm sure he's wonderful.
You probably spend other time with him, right? I mean, I would assume.
Any time that's not filled with a podcast.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Also, what's your husband's name? Does he watch with you? Is it
Venus Comics? I hope it's Venus Comics.
Venus Comics.
Yeah.
That would be cute.
That would be.
Don't waste your time thinking about her, says Dan H. Done. Let's move on to not thinking about her.
All right.
Let's go to the next comic. Down syndrome Venom #1 from I can't stop thinking about her. Venom #1 Marvel Comics, written by Al Ewing and Ram V, with art by Brian Hitch. An epic new era for the sinister symbiote starts here. Hot off the heels of Venom #200 and Extreme Carnage, we're closing out 2021 with one of the most ambitious books in symbiote history, an all-new Venom from some of comics' greatest talents. Marvel mainstay Al Ewing, who himself has just ended a character redefining run on Immortal Hulk, is being joined by Ram V, a horror maestro all his own, to craft a mind-bending and gut-wrenching tale of symbiosis, the likes of which the Marvel Universe has never seen. As if that wasn't enough, in all caps, they've been joined by industry legend Brian Hitch, in all caps, who is leaving it all on the page, exclamation point, all caps. We haven't led you astray yet, have we? So trust us when we tell you that you have never, all caps, seen a Venom, all caps, like this, exclamation point.
I don't know if they've led us astray before. I mean, how would I know? Maybe I just never found out.
What did you think of this Venom, all caps, Brian?
I thought it was cool. I thought, before we get into the book itself, it's weird. On the cover, it says Ewing V. Hitch, Curry Sinclair. I feel like Ram V should have his whole name there.
Yeah, not just V.
Right, exactly.
It just sounds like Al Ewing is about to fight Brian Hitch.
Exactly. It's going to fight Brian Hitch. And maybe they did. I don't know. Now, also, maybe I am completely in the wrong. Maybe Ram V would be like, no, that's my last name, and that's what should be there. And if that's the way he likes it, then by all means. As far as the story itself, it was cool. It's a new thing on Venom. It's in the aftermath. The new way it is for Eddie Brock is that he now kind of can almost not help himself from traveling between these different symbiotes, and that's causing some problems with the child that he is trying to raise when he disappears for several weeks at a time and isn't aware of it. I kind of thought the new Venom book was going to be more just Dylan in the Venom suit with the chains. I'm not unhappy that it isn't. And I'm in. The idea is cool. I like this cover too. I like how they've done the title, the indicia on Venom, kind of Venom the character is in behind Venom the word, and kind of bursting out from under it. It's interesting. I love cosmic stuff. Venom is not the character that I most want to be cosmic, Mm-hmm. I'm never going to turn down a cosmic story, and it certainly makes sense given Venom's backstory. It's just something they've never done. It's also not something that I ever really needed them to do, Maybe a bunch of, if you found out more about the symbiotes, but Venom is still Venom, that would be one thing. And I mean, I guess we're getting a little bit of that with Dylan as the new Venom. But, we'll see where it goes. It is, we see through Eddie Brock at one point goes kind of adrift through time. And Kang says that he is his oldest friend, which I imagine we'll get some backstory on that one. Because those are two characters who I don't think have ever shared a panel before.
Right.
And the antagonist, or if not antagonist, the thing that seems to be the problem, has red eyes. Now, I don't think it's Null, and I really hope it's not.
Right.
I don't think that that's what they're going to do. I just, enough with Null. That's been dealt with. Let's see what's next. I do, however, I like this place that Eddie winds up, this garden at the end of All That Is, with this guy who seems to have a symbiote on himself, or to be a symbiote, or something like that, just because of the color scheme, black and white, the way that they draw it. So I'm a little intrigued as to what's going on there, and what the story is with that. How about you?
I really was excited about this. I really liked what Donny Cates was doing with Venom for the past 5 odd years, and the King in Black and Absolute Carnage and all that sort of stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And he was pushing the character into new territory with, he's going to be going up against the god of the symbiotes and stuff like that. And I was with it. I was with it the whole time, and I was very excited about it. This one, first issue, was not particularly exciting for me. I don't like cosmic characters particularly. I like ground level characters, and Venom was always a very ground level character based on an existing ground level character, Spider-Man. And
yeah,
I'm torn because I love, and I feel this is a comic book geek's ongoing battle, right? I love when characters get pushed forward, but not to such an extent that they feel like they are a completely separate character.
Sure. You like
And I
those
think that
halcyon salad days.
Yes,
Yeah.
right? The aforementioned, yeah. So I love that they're doing this with these characters, and they're moving things forward, and Venom is no longer a bad guy. He's now a hero.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can only be a villain for so long in comic books without having some sort of arc wherein you're trying to redeem yourself or, you know, whatever. So,
and to be fair, that's been Venom's deal since like the 90s.
Yeah.
Since the Lethal Protector storyline. Yeah.
Yes. Which I also didn't like.
Well, there you go.
So this is much better than that, for sure, than Lethal Protector. And I love that he's got a kid and he's got a Venom. And the problem that they're having, their relationship stuff is very interesting to me.
He has the Venom, I believe, right? Like the
symbiote
that Dylan has is the original Venom symbiote.
Yeah, Dylan has Venom. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then it seems like Eddie doesn't have any symbiote, but he can just think about it and he can jump from symbiote to symbiote.
Right.
Yeah. So it's interesting, right? But for some reason, it just like this specifically the Kang thing kind of frustrated me a little bit because it just felt like a very kind of cheap little, I bet you didn't see this coming. I bet you didn't know that Kang frustrates me as a character because writers can do whatever they want with Kang, even though it's never been mentioned before, because, well, it's a Kang in a different time bit.
Now I'm a sucker for Kang, right? Anytime Kang shows up, I'm like, oh, Kang's back. So I wasn't against it, but I was still mystified by like, well, how does that work? You know,
I can't get a beat on that character. I can never get a beat on Kang because I feel like every writer that writes Kang has to reveal some heretofore unknown information about Kang, though you didn't. No one had any idea. Okay, why?
See, I haven't seen that as much. I just, I love the time travel, the different Kangs, the Council of Kangs, all that stuff. And the fact that he is different, like, he is also Immortus and Ramatut, at different points in his timeline and may or may not be descended from Doom or Reed Richards or both of them. Now, something I didn't notice is that on the page with Kang, you've got the Venom symbiote or some similar one, but he's got the white like on the top of the hands, like Venom does, and it is on fire, which it looks kind of like this. I see. Yeah, like it looks like it's coming out of. Me too. On first reading.
Yeah.
Now this could be a problem for the symbiote, but looking at it now, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's coming out of those fingers, which, as we all know, is one of the Venom symbiote's only weaknesses. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
That and sound, yeah.
So Bedlam, this guy looks kind of cool. Another symbiote. He looks kind of cool though. So I'm definitely going to read more of it.
All right.
But for whatever reason, this one just didn't grab me as much as I had hoped that it would.
Can you go back for a second? There's a page where there's a symbiote who saves Dylan. And the symbiote is like looking like kind of a mix between Venom and the symbiote Spider-Man costume, who is in sort of like regular clothes.
Yeah.
But they are a shape-shifting, color-changing race. Why does he... Maybe they can't just do faces like that, right? Like,
right.
Yeah. Because otherwise, why not? Like, why leave that one part looking like a symbiote?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Other than to let him know that it's me.
Oh, that's a good point. and also us, but that wouldn't make sense in story. But yeah, he does, and he does. Dylan does say, "You." So there you go.
Here's the other thing.
All
This is a brand new #1.
Yeah,
they should have told us who the heck that cat is.
Absolutely. I mean, I read some of the end of the Null stuff for the show, and I vaguely remember there being a cat, but I don't know.
But I don't remember who that cat is.
No. Like, he's obviously a symbiote or something symbiote related, just because he's all black with some color markings, but other than that, I don't know at all.
Yeah, that should have been explained for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll definitely I'll keep up with it. I'll see how I like it. I'm not basing my judgment on that because I really do love the character and I've been reading him for so long that I don't want to just drop it. Yeah. All right, we got one more book before we get the heck out of here, and that book is called
what is it called?
What's the Furthest Place from Here? #1 from Image Comics, written by Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss does the art. Triple-sized first issue. A post-apocalyptic coming-of-age story from 4 kids walk into a bank's Tyler Boss and Matt Rosenberg. The world has ended. All that remains are gangs of children living among the ruins. But Sid believes there must be something more out there. When she disappears into the wastelands, her gang will risk everything to bring her home. A story about the things that matter most. Your survival, your loved ones, and your record collection. How's your record collection, Brian? Of the 3 things that matter most.
Yeah.
How's your record collection?
Somewhere between non-existent and maybe somewhere in a box with a bunch of other stuff that I haven't seen in 20 plus years, if I have any.
Aha!
Yeah.
So what you're saying is your record collection is not one of your 3.
Clearly that is the 3 most important things. I am just sorely lacking in
that
area of my life. No, it is not. Oh, yeah, I see you have on screen. Hugh Mann says, "I love me some Batman, my dudes. Good talk." And I have to give some recognition to the name Hugh Mann being, I'm pretty sure, a Futurama reference. When there's the aliens from Zoidberg's planet infiltrate, and one of them says his name is Hugh Mann. So
gotcha.
Excellent reference.
Nice reference, yeah.
Yeah. That's how my record collection's doing. What'd you think of this comic?
Okay, so a little bit of backstory because you didn't ask for it. I really liked Matt Rosenberg's and Tyler Boss's 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank. Awesome book. Certain things didn't occur to me. One specific certain thing did not occur to me as I was reading it that you brought to my attention when we did a book club about it here on the Cultpop Podcast Network. And
which is totally fine.
But I still like the book. I still think it's really funny and clever and just a walloping good time. So I was very excited about this. And one of the cool things about this particular series is #1, well, I think a bunch of the issues have special edition copies where it comes with a new vinyl release from a band. So you get the first issue, and if you get a certain copy of it, a certain edition, you get a like a 7-inch record as well.
Like a different band every time?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Made for this comic, or just something they're already releasing?
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I love punk rock. I grew up in the punk subculture. So I was very excited about this. It's a bunch of punk rockers. I didn't really know what the story was. I didn't know that it was post-apocalyptic. Even looking at the cover here, it just looks like a worn-down house. It doesn't really look like it's post-apocalyptic. So I didn't realize that.
Could be pre-apocalyptic.
And I was really looking forward to it. That said, it was fine. I was not as enamored with it as I was really hoping to be. I don't think it's quite as funny or charming as 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank. It really doesn't have the same kind of vibe at all. It's not as whimsical, I don't think, at least not the first issue with 4 Kids. So it's definitely an adjustment there. The art is really nice. The color scheme is really nice. It's very sort of specific to Tyler Boss's style. Yeah, like even this, like I love stuff like this. This looks great.
So, like the title,
the
way
title
that
page,
they wrote the title. It's cool. Yeah, that is cool.
So it's fine. I'm going to read it because I love the team.
Yeah.
But I can't say that I was blown away.
Yeah.
A lot of the fun was, we were talking earlier, a lot of the fun is for me seeing all of the punk references in the backgrounds and in the foregrounds, stuff like that, and being like,
the ones in the midground, how do you feel about that?
Oh, they're also great.
Also good. Good.
Yeah.
And another title this week that is a sentence. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's nice. I also liked how they did the chapter titles. That was pretty cool. Yeah. What did I think? Nothing new. Nothing I haven't seen before was in this. I thought the art was great. I really like this kind of style. It's not dissimilar from some other stuff that that we've seen this week. It has a kind of, the quality of this art fits this story very well.
Yes.
And it's very evocative of the time period, even though this particular time period has not existed on this planet. It's like evocative of the time period that it's set in, just like The Thing was. And I thought that was pretty cool. I like the colors that are used. I like it when comics that are set post-apocalyptic or whatever use this kind of art and color style. That being said, there was, it was just like, oh, it's a, it's a post-apocalyptic story. There's gangs here. This is the gang that you're following. There's another gang that's a problem. They got a tenuous peace that is not going to last that long, or it never lasts that long. And there's a mythical kind of city somewhere, something that you could reach that is outside of these people's experience, that kind of thing. So nothing earth-shattering. Oh, and the other gang, they all wear pig masks. These people are all into records. They all have their signifying thing, right? So, yeah, I mean, like 100 million post-apocalyptic stories before it, all of these things are present. The story I thought was ably told. Like I moved through it well. It didn't have me stopping at any point or like feeling like I didn't really feel like keeping going. I love
this. This visual representation of the guy who has been stabbed. He has come back, and you can see his inhaling and exhaling. The rise and fall of his stomach where he's been stabbed. Yeah. And then that's how we find out that the character has eventually passed on, because there's two panels in a row where it's just, there's no inhalation.
I didn't notice that. That is pretty cool.
And I was talking about, there wasn't any comedy in it, but I got to say, very fun scene when we come across the rival gang. Gosh, what's the name of the rival gang?
I don't recall.
Me neither, but the Pigmask folks.
The Pigmask folks. Probably that.
They're trying to figure out who's in whose territory, or like, it's your fault for letting an adult into your territory, and then they have a huddle, and they go, yeah, but you wouldn't know about it if you weren't in our territory first. And they're like, and then they have a huddle, and then they come back, and they have a back and forth. That was awesome. I love that scene. Fun. That was very funny. Yeah.
You bring up an interesting point. So much is made about the adulthood, right? Like once you're an adult, you cannot be there anymore. And which is also not something, I mean, that was in a Star Trek episode too, the original series. And not specifically, just something with like in the post-apocalyptic environment, there are no adults. The main, or who seems to be the main character, is pregnant, right?
Yeah.
So that's interesting to me. Like, how is she not an adult if she is pregnant, right? Like, what is the defining characteristic of being an adult if that you need to leave once you reach this point, right? And there's these two, I don't know, these two like creatures. I don't know what they're up to, but they're up to something. They look kind of separate from everything else, maybe mystical in some way. What
we know about them, what we're told about them, is that those two shadow figures
Mhm.
bring new family members, right? So they call whoever's
right.
in their gang their family, and they are the ones who drop off new family members, new children. And when people become adults, I believe they are the ones who take them away. They're called the strangers.
They're the strangers, they proclaim.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So
Yeah.
I think it's not just a case of the kids in this record shop being like, you got to get out of here once you're adults. I think that is part of the post-apocalyptic landscape.
Right.
I feel like
people are
something happens to the adults, and there's only kid gangs left.
Yeah. Well, because that's the guy who comes back who was stabbed is an adult, and he somehow made his way back, having been stabbed, and then dies. So they don't find out much about it. Now, we were talking about music before. I am not. I mean, I like music. I am not super into it. I never listen to it in my home, really. Not never, but very rarely. And so whenever a story is like, music matters, I'm like, does it? Does it matter this much? Like, is it the pathway to truth or anything, or your identity or whatever? And to many people it does.
For some of us, yes.
Right, sure, that's fine. I don't necessarily vibe with, not with those people. You and I vibe, JD, but that is a story beat that doesn't land for me. I'm like, first of all, I'm like, Hall & Oates is cool. You don't like Hall & Oates, man? Come on. But apparently they're not cool. And whenever much is made of music as like a story point, I'm a little underwhelmed. Now, that being said, I am also sometimes underwhelmed when they make a similar big deal about stories and the nature of stories. And I love stories. I mean, I do a weekly podcast about comics. So, hosted by JD of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex. I don't know. It's a little hollow to me when they do that. Now, this seems to just be like their gang signifier.
Once in future. All right. So I'm sorry. Earlier, Brian was saying this exact same thing to me about this comic book and about stories and about music. And I was like, there's something on the shelves here that whenever I'm trying to like tell people about it and express what the story is about, like, it's about, modern Arthurian legend. And, but it's also about the power of storytelling. And I could not remember what the series was in the shop. And so I had to blurt it out just now, interrupting Brian, because it was way more important than what he was saying. Yeah.
Yes, it was. Let us never forget that.
What were you saying?
And I liked Once in Future, what I read of it, and I want to read more.
Oh, it's great.
But that being said, it's not a hook that's going to grab me, but it's not going to turn me off of something. Like, it doesn't make me dislike it. Well, it can turn me off a little bit, but it didn't do it too much here, right? Like, I wasn't like, I don't like this book because of that thing. Yeah. And another comment about the art is the starkness of it, I think, works really well for this story. There's a barren quality to it, and a heavy quality to some of the things that are present, that like in the line work. And in addition to the colors, I just think the art works very well in general and for the story that they're telling. Yeah. So
the more we talk about it, the more I'm liking this issue.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Good.
I have a feeling this is going to grow on me. Especially, and here's the other thing. I read it like 20 minutes before the show. Right. So I haven't had a lot of time to digest it, but I am really enjoying flipping through it again. Yeah.
And also the based on a true story. What an interesting, ballsy thing to write. It's like clearly not based on a true story. But it's whereas I'd be real upset if it said that and there was any possibility that it was based on a true story and it wasn't. In this case, it's like, well, this is obviously not based on a true story. So it's fun. It's a cool thing to write.
I'm trying to remember. There's a movie that did that as well. Like the beginning of the movie, it says based on a true story, but it's obvious that's impossible. I'm trying to remember what that was. I want to say it's maybe Scott Pilgrim or something.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah.
Based on a true story.
Was that not? No, that was not based on a true story. You could be thinking of the 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas, which
I could be, except I've never watched it. Fargo.
Does that
Fargo
say? Oh, it
is
does.
the one.
That's right. Yeah,
Well
yeah.
done, Mars. Yeah,
Nice.
Fargo is the one.
That's
you know
a
what?
good
I was
movie.
really. Oh, it's an amazing movie. It's an
Yeah.
amazing first series of the television show as well.
I never saw it, but it's constantly suggested to me, and I would watch it. I just never did.
Do it.
Okay.
What was the other thing I was gonna say? Fargo, Scott Pilgrim. Shit, it's gone. Never mind. Go ahead.
The 13th Warrior is also a film that I have never seen, but I did read the book that it was based on, Eaters of the Dead. And the idea is that a manuscript was discovered, which appears to be the like some historians are reading it, and this is like the true story that Beowulf was based on.
Oh, okay.
And it's it's Michael Crichton. When I was younger, when I read it, I thought it was kind of slow in the beginning, and then it really picks up. But I'm much older now, and I I'm not going to say that anyone else would have that feeling about it. But yes, I don't know how the movie is, but the book's really good, and it is similarly kind of purports to be a true story, even though it's obviously not.
What's the novel again?
Eaters of the Dead.
Oh.
Or The Eaters of the Dead. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like they're Neanderthals. Like the monsters are Neanderthals, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. What were you going to say?
Well, first of all, Dan says the art here gives me Paper Girls vibes. Agreed. Yes. The color schemes and everything, the layouts and everything, very much like Cliff Chiang work. Yeah, Cliff Chiang is the artist behind Paper Girls. He also did my all-time favorite Wonder Woman run by Brian Azzarello.
Oh, yeah, that's a great run. And great art on that run.
Yeah, it's Cliff Chiang, baby.
Yeah.
And then he's doing Catwoman Lonely City right now.
Writing and drawing, I believe. Right?
Really good.
Yeah.
I remember what I was going to say about based on a true story.
What was it?
I remember being devastated that a certain movie was purported to have been based on true story.
Blair Witch.
And was not.
Was it the Blair Witch?
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ah, okay.
Because they go hard into, like, this is what happened. And in the annals of history, the most horrific thing that has ever happened. Yeah. And, you know, there are supposedly files, and like there's a scene of the police coming in with the thing and doing all this stuff. And I when I was a kid, I was like, oh my God, that really happened? Like, what? And then it was just very, very loosely based on the fact that Ed Gein ate some people once. It's not based on a true story at all. And I was like, are they allowed? I remember thinking,
I don't like that.
Are they allowed to do that? Are they allowed to lie to me like that and tell me that a fake story is based on a true story? Can they just throw that around?
I'm going to say no, they can't. They got away with it, and they shouldn't have. You know what I mean? Like, in my personal view,
bastards.
No, you shouldn't do that. That was it. You know, I actually wanted to see the Blair Witch, whatever. I forget if that was the full title. When it was coming out, I was like, the Blair Witch Project. That's right. When it was coming out, I was actually interested in seeing it, which you'll remember. I'm not interested in horror movies, so that was a rarity. Because because they said that it was based on a real thing, you know, that these were actual found footage, right? And then before I was waylaid into seeing it, I found out that it wasn't real. And I was very disappointed, and I lost all interest in seeing that movie. And, you know, I was like, nuts to that then. Yeah.
I had the same experience.
Yeah.
Up to a point. Mm-hmm. I had heard about it, and I went down to the Ritz, very tiny movie theater. This was like literally opening day. Mm-hmm. Before it was like famous and was all over the place. Right. It was like very limited release. And I went to go see this film that was, you know, we all know, right? And I had no idea that it wasn't found footage. I left that theater thinking it was actually found footage. Yeah. Now, whether or not, you know, I was curious about whether or not it was all fake, like just faked found footage.
Right.
But not enough, because I was fucking terrified that night. I remember going to bed. I was with my girlfriend at the time, and I thought it would be funny. She went to the bathroom, and it was like I was still living at home with my mom or whatever, and my girlfriend goes to the bathroom, and she was staying over, and so I go, and while she's away, I've got charcoal because I'm an artist, and so I've got charcoal. I get the charcoal out, and I draw, which you probably don't even know what it is. There's a stick figure.
I know the stick figure. Yeah,
in the movie, and so I draw that on my door, and I'm like, I'm gonna spook my girlfriend, and she gets in, and she's like, oh, cute, whatever, that's fine. And I wake up in the middle of the night. And I just see that stick figure, and I've scared myself I could not fall asleep. I got up and I got rid of the thing, and I went back to sleep. I was terrified, brother. That movie scared the bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
And then, of course, eventually we found out that it was all fake. But
right.
I was at the impetus of it, where before everybody was talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I must have, there's no way I would have heard about it unless everybody was already talking about it. But
yeah.
It was early enough that the people were still saying this is found footage.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, yeah, you tried to trick me. And now I'm not interested in your film anymore.
See, I respect good marketing. I respect fun marketing. I really like that. The fact that they had the actors like hide away and not do any interviews.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I remember there was a fake website that they put up with all of the information of the missing kids and all of this information about the Blair Witch and how long it's been a legend and all this other stuff. And I did deep dives. I was reading every page of that website, getting all spooked out.
And that was not a legend at all, right? Like they just made it up entirely.
They made it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just fabricated it, like the Slender Man.
Oh yeah. See, now I'm of two minds, right? I like the idea. Like I like committing whole cloth to that kind of like marketing thing in theory. Like, oh, that's really cool. But on the other hand, I'm also very committed to the truth, and like not saying a bunch of bullshit as though it was true, and there being nowhere in there that says, hey, this is a bunch of bullshit. We're just saying that it's true. There's no reconciling those two things, right? If you want to do this, you have to do one or the other. It's not going to be a cool marketing thing if you hide away the actors, but then also have at the bottom, like, disclaimer, this is some bullshit, So I think I would come down on the side of, no, don't do that, because...
Don't manipulate me emotionally.
Right, exactly, because I want to find some real crazy stuff, in this world. And if you make me think that I have come across some real crazy stuff and it's not real, I'm going to be pissed. So,
fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Still
a good movie. It still holds up.
All right.
I actually quite like it.
Excellent.
All right. Anything else we should discuss? Probably not, because I got to go do my orders.
So no, I think not.
And also my eyes hurt.
Yeah, that sucks. Do you need to put eye drops in again? When was the last time you did it? Probably.
I'm supposed to do it every 2 hours.
All right. Well,
but also I've got these. I got to put in my blinks.
Got to put in those blinks.
I had my first juice, my eyeball juice. I had to put in my steroids. And now I got these little self-containers, these little self-serving containers.
Oh, they're like those.
Seems very, very, very wasteful. I don't like this. I don't like that each one of this. Just give me another one of these.
I think you probably want real sterile stuff for that.
That's a good point.
It reminds me of those much derided and despised little wax soda bottles that we were talking about the other week.
Yeah.
Does it not look like those with the 2 sips? No, half a sip of some liquid in there.
It's just syrup. It's just like one droplet of syrup.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Oh, no. Right. I dropped my headphone.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Oh,
okay.
There it is.
Well, thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us and doing the Batusi.
Excellent.
We got comments. Wait, I got to catch up on these comments. Hold on. Let's see. Wait, the Slender Man is made up, says Mars Comics. Oh, thank God. Disclaimer, this is some bullshit. Mars is great. Great show, guys. Thanks. Rest your eyes, JD. Thank you, Mars. Tell your husband who had a cool name, Carly, Carli.
There you go.
Tell Carly we said hi.
Yes,
and
told me said hi. And if I may prolong this show for just a second for a word of wisdom from me. So he says, wait, the Slender Man is made up. This reminds me of a legend that that I have heard, but it applies to any legend, right? This was from my hometown. There's this, like, let's say there's this thing out in the woods, right? It's like a witch's cabin or whatever, you know, something like that. So there's two possibilities. This is not a real witch's cabin, so there's no reason to go. Or it is a real witch's cabin, so leave the witch alone.
So there's no reason to go.
Exactly. Why? There is no reason you need to go to this cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
I miss doing the horror podcast. I used to do a show called the Cannibal Horror Cast. Boy, do I miss doing that. I love talking horror movies with people. But all of my co-hosts got too busy.
Yeah.
You don't watch horror movies, so fuck me. I guess we won't do them.
Yeah. Well, we could do a horror cast that's about something different and called something else.
Yeah. It's perfect. Like one about comic books.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right, guys. We love you. Thank you for hanging out with us. Be well. Take care.